Hello everyone, my name is Sandeep and welcome to our first episode of Trickle Threat with ScyberX. In this video series, we'll have conversation with security experts from all over the world who will share their knowledge and real-world experience with all of us. It's going to be very informative, so stay tuned. So today we are in conversation with one of the well-known names in malware research community, author of Mastering Malware Analysis, a public speaker who gives his talk in security conferences like DEF CON, and an international trainer. A warm welcome to our first guest, Amir Thabet. Hi Amir, how are you doing today?
Very good. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you. Now, first of all, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate that. And I do have some questions to ask you. But before I start firing up my questions, I think it will be great if you can tell us a little bit more about yourself, how you started, and what are you up to these days. That'll be great.
Sure. So first, my name is Amr Thabet, and I used to work in Semantic as in the team. It's called the Attack Investigation Team, and our team was working on monitoring the top attackers, the nation state attackers from all over the world, tracking even the professional hackers for hire, the big actors, big gangs around the world was crafting their attacking the top organizations all around the world. So some people think that, okay, to get to this, I took like 5-10 years of experience and a degree in computer science and all of this list of certificates. But the truth is, I was actually graduated from mechanical engineering, not computer science, and I don't have even one single certificate in cybersecurity, not even one certificate. And the truth is that what makes me what made me an expert in their eyes, what made me able to get the first job and get into this field in the first place, or get to become an expert in their eyes, is that I didn't go with all what people are going for, which is the certificates, because these certificates, there is an abundance of people who have these certificates. Actually, the certificate doesn't become famous until there's so many people who has it, and there's an abundance of it everywhere. What I went for is to find something that proves my skills and make me unique in the field. I remember back in 2011, I did an analysis for a malware. Just a part of it was a malware called Stuxnet malware. And this malware, everybody was talking about it at that time, was really getting into the media. And I did that analysis, I posted it online. And in just few days, I got an invitation to speak in the in the University of Sydney as like with the professor giving a lecture in computer science, in cybersecurity, and I was still a mechanical engineering student, and I got lots of attention from people. I got interviewed for Christian Science Monitor. I got invited to speak in Athcon Security Conference, and so many others. And in just very few months, I got around 5 different job offers from different countries, from different companies. Brevix in Webroot in UK, I got from Italy. I got also in US, Komodo. I got in Qatar and in Egypt where I live. And it was like a day and night. From the day I analyzed this malware, from before that, I was a complete amateur who was trying to find his way around, reading some hacking books and some malware stuff, to completely an expert in so many people's eyes. And from that time, I started to ride the road up to the success of in computer science and malware analysis. Now I work as a vulnerability researcher in Tenable, and I still trying to help people building their career in cybersecurity. And the most important is to build their unique proof skills. Building their skills, give them the mentorship that they can find a way into becoming the experts, and as well helping them getting their proof of success.
That's great. Very inspirational. I'm sure some of our viewers can relate to that. So that's great. Thank you. Right, Amir. So my first question is around COVID-19. As you are aware, everyone has impacted, by COVID-19 in some way, shape, or form. Have you seen any change in terms of phishing attacks or malware trends?
I would say there wasn't a change in how the malware operates. There is no change in the code and how it worked, but the delivery has been changed and the volume also has been changed. So with all the people are using their card payments or contactless payments and really using cash, it's a golden opportunity for banking Trojans, and all the campaigns are based on stealing credit card information or your bank details. I saw people playing on the panic that people had and all their emotions around that, and they even deliver their malware through COVID-19 maps or COVID-19 news, delivering Emotet, which is a non-banking Trojan, and as well TrickyBot. And we have seen that increase, especially at the beginning of the attack when everybody was searching for information about COVID-19. We're also seeing that because of these unusual circumstances, organizations started to send unusual type of emails to their customers, asking them for more information or providing them some updates about the COVID-19. And the attacker used that opportunity to send phishing emails that looks like from different banks, asking for information about their accounts, their username and password, and their credit card information. And that was quite more believable because of the unusual circumstances, and that made sense to them. So there is an increased volume in these type of attacks. As well, the ransomware has been increased a lot in the last few months with the COVID-19. This is what I have seen in the field. There's also I have also some insights of what is possibly could happen in the next few months or the next even year or two with the increase of working from home. With the problem that we have seen in the working from home, despite it's a good thing and it's easier for lots of people, it created a kind of, it decreased the gap between the personal life and the professional life. That led to kind of loose policies. If you are using your professional working laptop, you're connected to the company internet. You are using it when you are using it in the office. You are using it just for the work. You're doing the things. You're browsing the websites that are secure. You're using the company firewall, and you're following the company policies. But when people start to use their laptops at home using their unsecured network, disconnecting through VPN and browsing personal websites, or kind of losing the gap between using this professional working laptop that has the company sensitive information and use it for personal use. That could lead to so many attacks crafted into reaching the people who are working from home and getting their footstep into their organization using these unsecured networks or using personal websites. That's what I would say, what could be something that companies need to look at, and not to trust more the laptop, the employee's laptop, and have a way to protect against these attacks.
Do you see any recent trends in terms of ransomware especially from the last 3 to 4 months?
I would say, first, I would start by saying that ransomware is a successful business, and that's the problem that we are facing. There is no way that a company can fully decrypt the files for you. Any antivirus company or any cybersecurity company, they can't fully decrypt the files for you. And at some point, companies will have to make the decision if they will pay or not. Despite all the security precautions and all the detection and all the virus removal, you would still have companies that ask this question. I would say one of the big trends that we see right now is the human-operated ransomware. And it's actually a big issue. Now, with this, the human-operated ransomware, or what I like to call it, the targeted ransomware attack, is basically the whole story about it. Rather than the attacker targeting individuals who might be not able to pay the ransom or have just very simple files that are encrypted, why not to target an organization who has a bigger budget and craft like an attack just dedicated for them? They plan the attack manually. They get the hackers that actually plan the attack, craft a personalized phishing campaign targeting the employees in this organization, targeting the individuals, craft a personal email for them, and get them to download the malware. And from there, they don't just directly encrypt the file or encrypt the machines. They go laterally inside the organization, reaching their sensitive data. And with that, and sensitive data, the backup files, and everything inside the organization, that is worth lots of money for the organization, and encrypt these files. Once they encrypt these files, the company doesn't have any other option apart from paying to them. This is their business model. And with that, the payments wouldn't be just few Bitcoins like how they used to be with normal users, but it will be a hefty amount of money for the price of keeping these files and not losing these company assets. And with that, this is one of the biggest danger, the biggest trend and biggest danger we are facing these days. Also, another thing we are seeing is the ransomware as a service. Now, attackers don't need to even know how to write a code or how to write a ransomware. There are companies who deliver, or underground gangs who deliver ransomware for them. They deliver the attack. They just have to have the clients, or let's say their channels, to deliver this malware. And they just develop the malware for them that's easily to be customizable and to be delivered directly to their clients or their victims. That's also has been increased recently, and we also see another type of ransomwares which actually appeared recently with late 2019, which is the encryption-free ransomware. And the encryption-free ransomware is basically the ransomware doesn't encrypt the files. He knows that there is something else he can ask for a ransom for, which is actually even more costly for the organization, which is leaking this data. If the ransomware leaked customer-sensitive information, that will lead to an organization, according to the GDPR, which is a new law in Europe, that the company has to pay at least $20 million, 20 million euros even in fines, or 4% of their annual revenue worldwide, which is really a huge amount of money. And if the attackers can ask for even less of that, way less than that, they can still get the company to pay because they don't want these files to be leaked. And they can ask for the same money over and over and over again because they have the data and they can release it any time. So we also seen that has been increased recently, and just the ransomware is getting more and more, the volume is getting more and more. We see the amount of attacks and the encryption mechanisms that are used as being more focused on the public-private key encryptions to avoid being decrypted by the same key that's used to encrypt.
Right, Amir. So what is your security recommendation regarding the attacks we discussed today?
I would say the first thing is, like, of course, this topic, it can be like a massive topic, can take a book by itself, but just basic recommendations. First, you need to have the security controls in place, the technical part, to have the antivirus fully updated, that does the scan. You have a firewall, you have the basic controls, the EDR, the endpoint detection response, that also gives you more of the behavioral side of detection. You have a sandboxing for the files, the attachment files that have been sent through email that can scan and see what is happening on the machines. All of that needs to be equipped as well with threat intelligence information that tells us what is the attack that's happening around you and how you can still aware of them and protect it. You need to have a good patching system, you need to have a good patching management, and make sure that you update the higher priority attacks based on the threat intelligence information and based on the high priority vulnerabilities in general. So that's for the technical side. Of course, that all needs to be equipped with policies, procedures, and processes to make sure that all of them are working in harmony and as well following a specific process for protection. So all of that is good. But all of that alone is not enough, because here's the thing: if you have mostly the weakest element in your organization is the human factor, and if that is not well equipped, you still be vulnerable. You still will be vulnerable to so many attacks. Having a spam filter doesn't protect you from all the attachment attacks, because your employees are using social media, they're using different links, and they are browsing different websites. You need to have a good awareness in place, good awareness program, and really focus on the human factor in the protection side of it. So that's for the protection. And it is multi-layered protection. But here's the thing: despite all of these layers, the attacker, if he spends enough time and enough investment, he will get his foot into the organization. It just happens. There's no organization that is fully protected, especially getting into one of the employees' machines, one of the low users' accounts. And from here, from this account and his lateral movements into the most critical servers, most critical assets in your organization, you need to stop the attacker before he reaches that point. You need to have a good incident response team that's able to protect against these attacks. And the incident response team starts first with your SOC analyst team that actually get an alert about these attacks. If you have good controls, if you have good monitoring, if you know what's happening in your network, you know what ports are open, you know what's happening, then you have less noise for them to notice the attack. Once you have that in place, you have the incident response team that with their they are well trained, and as well they follow a process they have already trained on it. And what I mean with that, they can act very fast once there is an attack. If there's a ransomware, you need from the help desk to recognize that, to report that, and there is a process, a fast process to really respond to this attack and minimize the risk. With the incident response, even we see with the incident response that it starts with alert, it starts with the detection of something. But so many attacks can bypass these alerts. And we see that over and over again. And once they pass that, whatever with a FUD malware, with a spear phishing attack that's very well crafted, they get their foot in and they stay for months. That will time, I think, around 8 months on average. That's what we have seen in different reports. And with that, we need to decrease the time. Because if they stay for as long, not only they get into your information, your critical information, but also they can start the ransomware activities, which is even more cost for you. And with that, you need to have a way to detect these attacks before they actually have that long dwell time. With this, it comes what's called the threat hunting. And threat hunting, it's basically, the whole process is an incident response without an actual incident. It is an incident response with a hypothesis that we have already been compromised. This hypothesis comes based on learning the attacker's strategies, tactics, and procedures. Learning how the attacker actually, not like by MD5 or the malware, like how people think, or like the sample itself or some basic detection. It's not about detection. It's about the attacker behavior, the attacker strategy. We say we think that there is a strategy for an attacker to reach the organization through this way, and then we build our threat hunting or our incident response process based on this hypothesis. So you need to have all of these controls in place. That's for the organization. For the individuals, Also, they need to have a degree of awareness. They need to make sure that they actually check every email. They have zero trust policy, especially in all the emails and different communication that could be look legitimate, but it is malicious. They need to hold the phone, check with the boss, check with their colleague if that's actually from them. They need to increase the gap between the professional life and the personal life, especially when it comes to the working laptop. Make sure it's always connected to VPN. Make sure that they leave their social media outside of their laptops. Make sure that they don't click on different links on social media, wherever it is, wherever LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook. They leave that all to their personal computers. Make sure that you don't use USBs or whatever the way they share information, and stay following the company policy and procedures.
Thank you for sharing your knowledge and experience with all of us today. I think that was very informative. Now we are at the end of our session today, and I want to give you an opportunity to talk about whatever you want to talk about with our viewers. So this is your opportunity. Please go ahead.
Sure. So basically, I have built a company called Maltrack, and the main goal is to help organizations better protect their environment by training their incident handlers team, by training their team to respond to the malicious attack, whatever, through incident response process or even through their threat hunting. I do provide on-site and as well online trainings, and you can check all of them in maltrack.com. Also, I help individuals build their career in cybersecurity, and not by giving them another certificate to approach, but actually find a way that they can build their unique talent and become the experts in the field by showing their proof of skills. I have actually a free webinar, was called the most demanded cybersecurity skill that companies are hiring for in 2020. I will share the link in the description or with Sandeep. It's basically maltrack.com/webinar. So make sure that you check it out. And in general, make sure that you contact me if you have any question, if you have any suggestions, if you want to reach me out for anything. I'm here, and I will leave my contact information with Sandeep.
So that's great. And we'll catch up soon then. You take care. Have a good day.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.